Hi everyone, this is Russel Arnold for thepapare.com. Not good news. Yes, disappointing end to Sri Lanka's World Cup campaign. Beaten or lost to a dominant South African performance. Looking at yesterday, wonderful day, beautiful day here in Sydney. We didn't have a packed house like we did see for the Sri Lanka Australia game, but yes, a healthy crowd of about 28,000 people did show up for this cracker of an event. Didn't live up to expectations because Sri Lanka blown away. Injuries also were a reason that Sri Lanka were not moving forwards smoothly. Dinesh Chandimal's injury a few matches ago was an issue, and then Rangana Herath not recovering in time also put the team out of balance. A juggling act was done. Kusal Pereira, who came in as a replacement rather than fitting in the middle order, which he hasn't done really well. The only option was to move him up the order to try and see if he can get Sri Lanka off to a fly. Thirimana, of course, has a decent record down the order too, though the opening combination between Dilshan and Thirimana was working well. So a bit of mix and matching was done. Sri Lanka opted to open with Kusal Pereira with Thirimana moving down the order. Stuck with Dushmantha Chamira because he has that extra pace and you need wicket taking options rather than just going through the motions. Tarinder Kaushal was drafted into the squad late on the morning of the game to replace Rangan Herath, and was no surprise because if they were rushing him in, they were looking to play him. Otherwise, you could have given Rangan Herath a little more time, hoping Sri Lanka got past this game. Senanayaka was the other spinner on board, but looking at how he's been going, the same job can be done by Dilshan. But Tarinder Kaushal gives you something different. He looks to give the ball a rip a lot more than the other spinners we've seen. Yes, he's not played any ODI cricket or Test cricket, just the one Test match. But South Africa haven't seen him. Hence, he could have been a mystery bowler to them and maybe pick up a wicket or two. But after winning the toss and making the right decision to bat first, Sri Lanka couldn't make the most of it. It was expected the first 10 overs to be very tough, and also it was known that Sri Lanka had to get off to a flyer to pick on the South African nerves. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Rather than talking about what Sri Lanka could do, it was about looking to pick on the South African mistakes or their faults or their weakness for Sri Lanka to get ahead. That's where the two teams stood right through this tournament. But Sri Lanka, well, they show up at vital times. That's how they get their work done. Not to be so with Kyle Abbott making early inroads. He was the one who really started it off for me. His first over was brilliant to Kusal Pereira. Dale Steyn had bowled the first over, but lots of wide balls, which Kusal Pereira missed. Now, if he had been able to get a couple of those away, he would have felt much better, and Sri Lanka would have relaxed a lot more and played a normal game. Kusal, as usual, was going very hard at the ball and hence found the edge twice, picked up 3 runs, and then a beauty from Kyle Abbott in the next over was pouched brilliantly by de Kock, who hasn't had the best of World Cups, but the South African management have backed him that he's the man to stick by. With Kusal Pereira being dismissed, the whole South African unit found their feet. The fielding was brilliant, back-to-back maiden overs, probably 3 or 4 of them. Dilshan faced 7 balls and extra pace and bounce of Steyn did him in. A good catch by Faf, and the Sri Lankan innings was going nowhere. Thirimana, I thought, batted brilliantly. He came in and played freely, some wonderful shots through the covers, fearless cricket from him. Not that he was going after the bowling, he was playing the ball on merit and what was there. He looked so good, and the partnership with Sangakkara started building. But very strangely, Sangakkara retreated a little too much for my liking. Started leaving lots of balls, played it safe. What he probably was thinking was that to bat till the end and Sri Lanka can catch up and also make a score that could be defended. Assessing the pitch too, it was probably not a 300 pitch as we have seen before. Maybe 250, probably even 260 would have kept Sri Lanka in the game, but it was about moving forward. Thirimana, though kept the scoreboard ticking, the same didn't happen from Sangakkara, and the fifth bowler who Sri Lanka should have targeted was brought into the attack early by AB de Villiers. The batsman just looked to knock him around and let him get through overs. The score was not moving at all. We were managing only around 3 runs and over. And if you let good attacks just get into it and keep going through the motions, you're only going to go into a shell. Quicker the bowler, the better the bowler. You also need to look to attack, hence put pressure on the opposition, not totally play a defensive role. Sri Lanka just couldn't pick the momentum up. Yes, there was a bit of grip, there was a bit of turn for the spinners, hence not easy to bat on either, but it was certainly not a pitch where Sri Lanka could have crumbled like that, or for even find Sangakkara 40 balls for 5 runs. Wicket started to tumble. Imran Tahir came in. Sri Lanka, they just didn't find any momentum. Matthews uh, followed. He tried to get a move on, but as we've seen right through the day, there was no luck going Sri Lanka's way. Jayawardene for the last time to hit the ball twice, basically. Quicker from Imran Tahir, hit the top of the bat, and then he ended up scooping it off the bottom of the bat to short mid wicket. 133 was never going to be enough when you consider the depth of the Sri Lankan bowlers and their strengths. Amla was dismissed off a wide delivery, but de Kock made sure that he did repay the South Africans and their trust in him. South Africa going forward looking very, very strong, and this is what they needed to show their intent, make a statement that the choker tag is off their minds. They will be a force to watch with, to look out for, a force to be reckoned with. And this World Cup, to be honest, is now getting exciting with the stronger teams on paper and on results in the past few months going ahead. At the moment, South Africa, New Zealand, and Australia look like the teams to beat. But New Zealand, just like South Africa, have to get through that quarter final because it'll be a test. They've been dominant, but when it comes to knockouts, it's a different story. So South Africa have found their belief. Disappointing for Sri Lanka, who haven't been at their best. There are many reasons probably for it. This team has been together for a long time. The core aging, they haven't been great in the field, but have found ways to win matches, have found ways to compete, have found ways to be in the game, but not on this occasion, though. I would have expected a lot more of a fight, but South Africa showing their class and being too strong. No point analyzing the Sri Lankan bowling because there was not much to play with. If that's the case, you're always going to look for wickets and you generally go for many runs. But I think it's a time to look back at what this core group of Sri Lankan cricketers, Mahela Jayawardene, Kumar Sangakkara, moving on from ODI cricket. Sangakkara, of course, will play a few test matches before he signs off. How well they've done for Sri Lanka, the joy they've brought us, how much they've thrilled us. And you cannot forget the likes of Dilshan, Herath, Kulasekara, Malinga, who knows how long we will see them for. They are also aging stars. But as a team, if you look at it over the last 4 5 years, they've achieved a lot of great things, and also individually. T20 World Cup win, winning in England, Test matches, ODIs, they've been right up there. And I think it's a time to appreciate what they've done. We're looking forward from Sri Lanka's point of view, couple of months off, and it's a rebuilding phase, an exciting phase. A new core has to be built. The backbone of the Sri Lankan team has to be built because Jayawardene Sangakkara, they've been the ones holding it together for the last 10, 15 years. So looking for new players, getting a new unit in. I think everyone needs to get behind them and support them and hopefully move Sri Lanka cricket forward. Well, this is Russel Arnold from Sydney for thepapare.com.